New publisher, Pete, attempts to break the mold with manga-sized comics. So a brand new publisher wants to change the game by introducing manga formatting to its comic books. Socko Press. I already got visions of Mick Foley. A small press publisher targeting manga creators and fans will launch its first wave of titles in the spring of 2025. Interesting. Founded by Max Hoven, the host of Indie Comics Empire podcast and YouTube channel, Socko's Press niche in the independent comic book market will be in the manga formatting of its books, which is the publisher believes will be a more affordable method of printing for small print runs to help new and rising comic creators and authors. Socko Press' first title will arrive next spring, starting with Our Love Unrest, co-written by Hoven and his regular writing collaborator, Aaron Crow. Other titles will be determined by the results of the publisher's spring and comic writing competition, which will be accepting submissions until March 31st, 2025. Authors and creators who win the Socko Comics and Novel competition will have the opportunity to launch their books under Socko Press label, as well as win other perks and prizes. Socko Press is focused on serving creators rather than IP ownership, acting as a first-step publisher dedicated to establishing a core audience for their IP. Creators' contracts and agreements will only be for one print runs rather than on an annual basis, allowing creators to move to larger publishers as they and their IPs grow in demand. In addition to Indie Comics Empire and Socko Press, Hoven also owns Hoven Crow Entertainment, a production company responsible for comic projects such as Massive Publishing's Liquid Kill, Scouts Comics That Eats What It Feeds, and the thriller film Half Pace. Socko Press will accept and publish stories of all genres, primarily, though, target high-concept stories with primary genres such as horror, science fiction, fantasy, crime, action, adventure, and thriller. Secondary genres can include romance, drama, westerns, slice of life, as long as the core hook is high-concept or quote-unquote intense in nature. Physical units will be printed by the publisher as English language Japanese Tobacon size books. They will be 5 by 7.5 black and white comics, graphic novels, manga novels, and novellas. Comic books created in color will only be available as exclusive digital comics, including digital collectibles via Web3. That's interesting. Regarding distribution, Socko Press will self-distribute mainly through its website and Amazon. The publisher will pitch comic shops and book retailers directly and offer wholesale discounts for orders 10 or more. Bulk orders will be driven directly to various comic shops and bookstores throughout the Midwest, particularly in the St. Louis and Chicago metro areas. Well, good luck. What you're trying to do is very hard. What you're trying to do is going to require a lot of time and patience and work. I've seen a lot of these things sort of come and go. You want to get in comic book shops, but you're not dealing with Diamond. It's going to be a very hard sell, guys. It really, really is. You're hoping that these comic book shops are going to deal directly with you. Many won't. You're hoping that putting these books in a black and white manga format is going to maybe make it cheaper and sell more. I don't necessarily think that that's going to be the case either. You're only going to print these books in black and white. All digitals are going to be in color. It's comic books, right? Are you making manga? Are you making comic books? Because to me, there is a difference. I don't know, Pete. What do you make of this? You're the manga guy of the crew here.
They're making both. They want it. It's someone got the idea. You know how I always talk about the guy who's just trying to get an idea and shekel their ideas to fans and fake fans out. This isn't a fake out. They understand that they can understand that the manga is disposable. Manga is disposable in Japan. So let's make a disposable reader in America that we could sell on the cheap and push on the cheap ourselves to shops, because if we go through Diamond, the price is going to be, exorbitant. We'll put out a colored digital version, because digital, kids are on their tablets and blah, 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 blah. Okay, cool. They'll do the self-publishing thing. Where I disagree with you is them talking to comic book shops. Will some comic book shops be like, no? You're right, absolutely. There are many that do carry manga, so if they have a deal where they could work out something. Now remember, this instant when you said that, when you read that that's what they were doing, I instantly thought about our buddy Sam Quinton, Sonoma Publishing, and even Max and Johnny at Atrocity Press. They talk to comic book shops, Sam more than anybody, on their own. They hunt down alternative places and comic book shops to get their stuff in. If these guys do their due diligence and do that and get themselves 10% of the stores, that's an in.
That's being generous, because I'm thinking let's say if there's 1,700 stores and maybe 30 of them agree to carry your shit. That's
that's a huge in. That's huge. 30. That's huge because they have Amazon.
That's right.
Amazon will push it, and that will help. That's a monster. Having Amazon, manga moves on Amazon. It just does, because not every comic book shop carries it. Not everybody has a Barnes and Noble.
Now keep in mind, these aren't mangas. These are comic books done with manga size.
Manga size. Yeah, no, I get it. It's their hedging. It'd
be like you bought one of these books. It's going to be thicker, right? It's going to be black and white. Let's say it's Nyobi. It's just going to be Nyobi black and white in a manga size book. That's what they're doing.
Right, but they're going to do the page counts though.
Well, the page count will be higher. Sure, you have a thicker
book. Right. Okay. So it'll be a manga style comic book. It's their what they're doing is mashing up both things.
Well, they're not even using the art style though, right? It's not like you're gonna open it up and it's like manga Japanese art. You're gonna open it up and it's Nyobi art, but it's also black and white, but it's in this smaller format with some more pages on cheaper paper.
Right. Right. So it's gonna be disposable and easier to consume.
I just don't think that works with American comics. I think most American comics need to be in color,
No, I understand that, and I don't think you're wrong at all. However, this approach is different. And
it's different, but do you think it's going to work?
I think they have a I don't want to say it's going to work or it's not going to work, but I think they have a high probability of success.
So you're saying they have a shot?
I think they have a really good shot, better than what they have, the best shot out of everyone that's come before them, and I think they're going to make it. So much so that I want the link to maybe pitch an idea or two to these guys. They have a thing. You said submissions, this, that, the other thing.
Sure, yeah.
I would like to see more of what they're going on, because I'm very much interested, because that's like I said, they're not trying to do all these grandiose, delusions of grandeur. Oh, we want to talk to comic book shops about getting them, 10 books at a discount. Okay, you know what? Okay, and let's say hypothetically, okay, they talk to the guys over at Fourth World Comics, which is my comic book shop. Hey, we're gonna get you 10 books. And by the way, the guy, the book we're gonna send you is made by you're working on his pull list right now, Pete. Oh shit. Pete's going to do a signing on his thing. 10 of their books. I'll have whatever books I could sell that to my local shops, or somebody else could
possibilities here.
Well. Yeah, there's possibilities if they get the right people to work with. If they get a guy like Sam, who'll be like, yeah, let's go get stuff in our shops. If they find a guy in Christian and I's part of the world where there are a shit ton of comic book shops. Hey, I'm working with these guys. I'm putting out a book, blah, 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 blah. This is this. He's going to get in contact with you, this, that, the other thing. And you get yourself, like Larry said, 20, 30 shops out of the 1,700. But you get them in the right spot. Like you get them in New York and Los Angeles and stuff like that, where people are reading not just comic books, but manga. So a manga-style comic book or a comic book-style manga, whatever you want to call it, whatever you want to call this, the Socko Press. It's interesting.
Well, my criticism here on this, and Christian, you can weigh in next, is if you want to be in comic book shops, why wouldn't you put this through Diamond?
They're going to raise the price. They're trying to keep the price down.
What do you think, Christian?
Okay, so the one part, and it's tailing what you just said, and maybe I missed it. Why aren't they going through someone like that, or through Diamond?
They want to offer it directly through their website, and Amazon is their path. But you want to be in comic book shops, right? So
that's not going to get them into shops.
Not many.
Right.
They're going to promote themselves to shops on their own with their own distribution, because, I can tell you why. It's because Diamond will mark up. It will cost more if they go through Diamond, and that's not what their plan is here. Because one of the tenets of manga is you get more pages. Okay, you get less quality paper. It's in black and white, but it's cheaper.
Right, but solely for the point, only touching on the point of being in comic shops, if that is a real want of theirs, doing it that way is not going to get them very far, because even a person like, not to go back to the well, but even people like Eric July and Ethan, if they went to comic shops on their own, they're not getting in a lot of comic shops.
But that's a different thing. But Ethan is selling a flop. Eric July, they were selling floppies. This is not a floppy.
I just think the process of going there on your own isn't gonna work for you, whether it's floppy or manga or anything. I just don't think that business model works.
You know,
if Sam can do it, I think these guys can do
it. I don't understand why a creator would go to these guys if they don't have a Diamond deal, right? Because I remember starting Nyobi, and I would get hit up by all these small press companies like, hey, yeah, we want to publish Nyobi. You remember Variant Grant, Liberty Distribution, all that dumb stuff, right? Everyone wanted to try and publish Nyobi, but none of them could get me into comic book shops. They're like, oh yeah, we got these connections and this and that. But I always come down to the real questions: are you in Diamond? And they would all say no. And I'm like, well, we can't do business in, because the idea is I want to reach as many shops as possible. Maybe I am taking a lower cut on the pay, because the starving artist is always the last guy to get paid. But I believe in the growth of being in there, and that in a few years, I believe that growth could pay off.
Yeah.
And
to go back to what Sam's doing is Sam's reaching out to comic shops. He's making a rapport with them and getting his stuff in there, but he's also giving them a lot of product to view on the cuff, and that becomes expensive when you want to go nationwide.
But that's what they're talking about, and I don't think because they have Amazon, if they get into 10 shops, they're happy because they're on Amazon.
Well, that's the thing,
which means they're in everybody's home, and everybody's phone, and everybody's tablet, on everybody's computer.
Right, but again, I'm just addressing the shops thing. If there is a real desire for them to be in shops, with that model, they're only going to get into 10 shops.
But here's the thing. But yeah, and you're right, but you're wrong. And this is why, follow me. You can't take one thing. You can't say Amazon by itself, shops by itself. It's all one plan. It's all one plan. It's all one thing. It's all, this is what we're doing, and this is the plan for it, and it's all involved. It's not like, okay, I just want to get into shops. Let's do this. Yeah, if they just wanted to go into shops, yeah, you have to go to Diamond. Absolutely, I agree with you 1,000%. Or if you just want to do Amazon, okay, we just want to do Amazon. They want to do it all, but you can tell that, and it's made not clear but apparent that they have a model to work this out so that they can still remember. They're also saying it's just one print run, and then if you want to go to AP or this or that, or go through Diamond, or get somebody that can get you to go to Diamond, God be with you.
I'm so glad you said that, because why not just go to AP first? You know what I mean?
Well, that's the thing too. But AP isn't making a manga styled floppy or a floppy styled manga.
That's the real business model for them to get into comic shops would have been go to Amazon and go to sales places like that, mail order, whatever, and build because you have a potential to sell tons more that way right away. You get the money from that to allow yourself to go through Diamond.
But Diamond's going to destroy the price of the book to the fans.
And well, Diamond's going to take 60% of the cover price.
They're going to sell it for what you want to sell it for.
I mean, Pete's right, because you're dealing with Diamond. There's this, middleman charge that you sort of have to.
Yeah, they just want to eliminate the middleman.
Right, but that's
eliminating the middleman is really all they're doing.
Because what you're doing is you're selling to Diamond, and Diamond's selling to the comic book shops. That's how it works.
Yes, but I'm not. And again, that's why I said the model is to get your books sold first through Amazon and the other place, build your money up there, take part of that money and use it to pay
Well,
whatever
these guys
they're
are just
asking.
going to try and make a couple of phone calls and get into a couple of shops. You
Right.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's
They're
going to be,
not-
and again, that's different. That's being in a couple of shops. That's not being.
That's they
in
don't want.
comic shops.
They didn't say but they didn't say that they're going to be in every single comic book shop. They said they're going to solicit comic book shops on their own. That means they might get into none. They might get into all of them. They might get into 3.
What would be nice is if they went into bookstores where they'd be competing directly against manga.
Well, they're not making manga though. They're making comic books that are in manga size.
Right. But they'd be bringing comics.
It could be any art style. Look
They're
nothing like manga.
They're creating a niche product.
Right.
Okay. That's a little bit of an amalgam of both things. And they're going to sell it through platforms where they think people who are looking for niche things are going to do it. Yes, would they like to get into comic book shops? Of course. Are they going to get into a ton? Probably not. But they have Amazon and they have this and they have the other thing. Now, the other thing they didn't mention in the article, which is probably something you would talk to them. Let's say I want to do Attack on Cookie with these guys. Okay, cool. Blah, 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 blah. Can I crowdfund at the same time the way Larry can with the Antarctic Press?
Yeah.
Okay. That's important. That's something that's important to find out from them. Actually, that's another reason why I'd like to see the article. I'd like to contact them and ask them about that because that might be a deal breaker for some folks.
Well, I want to go back to the bookstore thing real quick because so we've had the discussion as to why is manga doing so well? Why are they in Barnes and Nobles and comics no longer really has a presence? And if this is American comics in a smaller size, a disposable format and cheaper, why wouldn't you want them there? That would bring comics in a sense back to that forefront, back into that competitive phase.
Because it's more expensive. They don't have product. Remember, they're not making the product. They're getting creators to make the product. So it's more expensive to middle with Barnes and Nobles as it is. It's cheaper to do it with Amazon or to put it into to create it and put it into comic book or get into a couple comic book shops.
They can do like print on demand services.
Yeah,
right? You know?
Exactly. To get through Barnes and Noble, they have to make X amount of books, and then that's going to again kill the cost, which is what they don't want to do right now. If they get massive, of course they won't give a fuck. But whatever.
Very interesting. We're going to keep an eye on Socko Press and see what happens here in the future. Maybe they're on to something. Maybe they're doomed to fail like so many of these startup companies. It's always interesting to see. Everyone's trying to change the game. And like Pete said, at least they're doing something differently. They're moving differently, folks.
They're moving differently.
Socko, just look out for Mick Foley, man.